Hi there. Let's talk about planning and how best to plan on Predicom. Planning is the most crucial part of ecom businesses. Only when you plan accurately will you know what overstock you're holding, what SKUs you should be buying next. All of this comes from the most accurate plan. And the key to it is your setup of your plan on Predicom. So let's walk through it. When you just join the platform, you will be put on a simple plan. What is a simple plan? The simple plan is a rolling mean plan which looks back at a set period of days and then takes the daily average over them to use that as your forecast for that SKU. So in my particular case, I'm using the 90 days look back period. So when I go back to my plan, you can check it out and see that the daily average for each SKU is used exactly the same for the months ahead. So if I'm zooming into a specific SKU here, we can see that historically I have sold over the past 3 months 137 units, and my plan will be approximately the same given the daily average over these 3 months. If I open up, clicking into the SKU, you can see that the plan is to sell 61 to 59 units per month. The reason for it is because the difference in days in a month, but overall the plan is static. You expect it to sell the average number of quantity that you have sold over the past look back period. The simple plan is refreshed daily. You don't have to trigger the refresh yourself. And it's best for customers who have limited number of data. So if you've been selling for less than a year, let's say on Shopify, it's also good for customers who have unstable trends. If you want us to look back at a specific period of time, so let's say in the past 7 days, because it's so volatile and you want us to project based on the average over the past 7 days, let's say, that's the plan for you. However, for the majority of customers, we recommend switching to a smart plan. With a smart plan, we use an AI modeling to take your growth expectations to predict where would the growth come from. So let's say if I input here a 1% growth over the next year, the second question we're asking is, what would you like us to emphasize your growth on? The shorter the period, the more we take into account the most recent trends. So if in the past 3 months, your distribution of your sales hasn't been reflective of what you would expect to make in the upcoming year, I would choose a longer period of time. But if you think that the recent changes in your distribution of sales are there to stay, pick a shorter period of time. So I'll go ahead and pick last 12 months because I expect my longer period of time to be more representative of how I'm going to be selling in the future. By default, we're also applying seasonality if we see more than 2 years of data to help us spot the seasonality. And we'll save the changes. This will override the previous plan, so the simple plan, and the new plan will be generated for you. The plan has been created, so it's not anymore a static plan for each month, the same, based on daily averages, but actually taking into account seasonalities, trends, behavior, and distribution of all the SKUs given their past performances across the whole history of this SKU. Let's have a look. First of all, we see there is a massive spike in July, and you can check why there are peaks and troughs, and most likely this is due to seasonality. So I'm activating last year's sales and also year-over-year plan and actual. So we can see that the reason why there's such a high spike, the gray plan, in July is because in July last year, what we see in blue, there has also been an increase during this month. So Prediko has attributed some growth to this particular month as well. And what we can see now is that the plan has been generated and I can review it. How to review your plan. This is very important. First of all, make sure that you are happy with the number here as your total months. If you have a look into this and you think, actually, I'm expecting a slightly different growth, you can go ahead and edit it here. You control this number. Prediko is not inputting this number for you. You are driving what is a growth expectation, and then Prediko takes this number and distributes it across all the different months. Once this number is added, the next step is to keep your plan up to date. So you can see here last time when you have refreshed the plan, and you can use the button here. Based on the filter applied, we will refresh all the SKUs which are selected. If no filter is applied, we will refresh all the SKUs, and your plan will be updated. So make sure that this number is correct, and the plan is also refreshed, taking the most recent information into account. What do we mean by plan is refreshed? That means that last time Prediko has checked 6 minutes ago, given all the information it learned from your Shopify, how would it distribute the plan? If let's say it was 1 month old, it means that your plan is distributed based on information 1 month back. we do not automatically refresh it because you have an ability to edit your plan. And we don't want to override your edits which you have done manually. After you're happy with your total plan entered and your plan is most refreshed, you can go ahead and edit the plan on the month-by-month basis. You can do it on a total level here, or you can use a filter at the top to drill into specific categories, apply this filter, and edit the plan on any level within the filter. Let's look into specific SKU. I can pull up this particular SKU and see what is the expectations of sales here. Here I'm seeing that this SKU has been selling quite well over the past few months, much higher than in the last years, but in particular in June, the sales have not actually been as high as expected. I'm in the middle of June, so given my trend is emphasizing over the past 12 months, it's looking at my performance of the SKUs in a longer period of time, but just recently it started behaving a little bit worse. So maybe the decision I can make is either edit my plan manually, one by one, using the filter here for each month, or I can choose to change the distribution of my plan to be overemphasized on the most recent trends, so recent distributions. Then let's have a look how it's going to impact my SKU if I change the plan settings. Here you go, I'm changing it to 3 months. My plan has been updated. Now it's overemphasized on the most recent trends. Let's see how it's going to impact my SKU. Here we go, it's updating now as well. So we can remember in the past it was 40 days, now we actually expect 80 days left, because now if we open the SKU and the plan, it's expecting a much lower sales expectations because recently this SKU hasn't performed as well as in the past. So now the trend is going to give less emphasis on them because the most recent trend is picked up. So to recap, I have chosen after playing around with Prediko that for me, what works best for me is a smart plan. I have edited my next 12 months. I had made sure my plan is refreshed and I chose a trend of the past 3 months. How to keep it up to date? Check the number here. Make sure the next 12 months are always correct. You can edit them anytime. Keep it refreshed. And then you can always edit your plan month by month, either on total level or via the filter. And your plan is always correct here with you on Prediko.